Hey everybody, this is Darksied. Welcome to my Kalameet fight. Now this is only going to be the boss fight only. Normally I like to include some other things with it, but this one was sufficiently long enough that I'm just going to make it its own thing. Okay, first thing you'd see here is that I'm actually getting some herbs ready, and I'm also going to be using the golden pine resin in order to buff my weapon. Usually dragons are fairly poor when it comes to resisting lightning, so that's the reason why I use it a lot. I'm not entirely for sure if it's so much anymore, but that has been my experience. Now, as you see here in the beginning, I'm not necessarily looking to do him harm. What I'm trying to do is get damage on the tail. You see there I just got 331. Because his tail does come off. And I am going to get the tail off in this video. Now that move right there is the prime way to get any kind of tail action. It's very hard to get his tail any other times. The only other times that you can do it is whenever he does this attack, which is very hard because he actually relinquishes this if he doesn't get you up in it. And whenever he sits up to do the flaming breath attack. Those are the only times that his tail is really down in a position where you can actually cut it. So mostly what I'm doing here is just avoiding his attacks, as I don't want to get too much damage done on him. Now if you notice I'm using that eagle shield, I've upgraded it, it's got a fairly good stability, which basically means that it doesn't take as much stamina whenever you get hit. And that is crucial because he does hit pretty good. I could have probably done it with a different shield, but this way it seemed more logical. I'm also wearing the Chloranthy ring for stamina regeneration, since big weapons and also these big hits do take their fair amount of stamina away from you, and I want that back as quickly as possible. I was actually using the Crest shield for the very first time I went in here, and this is really before I knew that you could cut his tail off, and I nearly beat him. I was one strike away from beating him, and he flew up in the air just like that and caught me. And as you can see, that does a tremendous amount of damage, so being cocky didn't really help me here. But I spent the next few times not really trying to beat him, but as I said, trying to cut off the tail, and it turns out to be quite the challenge. Keep your shield up whenever he does those, and you can usually go through them unscathed. There's another one of those attacks. This attack I managed to actually get. I don't think it's really the quantity attacks, I think it's the quality of attacks. I've seen other people that said that your damage had to be a lot higher. My damage on that, if I calculated it right, was 948. So I really don't think the damage has that much to do with it. I think you just got to get good quality attacks and hit him on the tail and not on his back. So now let's finish killing him. He really likes that attack there, the head swipe, which does a fair amount of damage if you're not blocking it. But if you're blocking it, I mean, it's actually, you can take it pretty good. The only other one that he does that hits much harder is whenever he's further back, he'll do a lunging head swipe like that, and that'll knock you silly. But if you happen to have your shield up, then you usually don't have much of a problem with it. So that was Got confused there for a moment, thinking I'm still trying to get around to get his tail, and almost tried to run around his leg before I came to my senses. Now whenever he does that charge attack though, you'll want to get away from him, because he does do a turn around and do a flame attack. That one there, he almost always starts out to one side, just run to the other and quickly get beside him and you'll easily avoid it. That one there, when he takes off in the air, just run in a particular direction and you should be able to get out of the range of it. That's the lunging attack I just told you up. I barely got my shield up in time on that. I've also been doing some preemptive drinking, even though it seems like I probably could have done it with 1 or 2 potions less. But I certainly wanted to make sure that my health was high, just in case I got caught by another attack that broke my guard. So even if he does hit you with that, as long as you have your shield up, it's not a big deal. He knocks you back, he knocks you almost completely out of stamina, but you slide back, you regain your footing, you go in, strike him for the kill. And that ring right there is going to make life a lot more complicated. It's actually going to be kind of beneficial to those people who really like challenges. What that ring does is actually doubles all damage that you take. So I'm sure that people are going to be using it in some capacity for that, to try to make the game more challenging. Let's go over here and collect my souls. Now, how you get him down in the first place, and I forgot to actually record this, but the giant up in the tower, if you come down here the first time, Kalameet will be flying around and just using breath attacks, and he'll never actually land. But after you come down here and see that, probably get hit by the flame once, then you can go back up to the giant up there, and he will use that great bow that he's got next to him and take a shot at him and disable one of Kalameet's wings. That's the reason why you can fight him in this boss battle. If you notice, I also had a couple of cute sayings on the ground. My favorite was the one about meeting Hawkeye right about now. Well, that's going to conclude this boss fight. I hope you've enjoyed watching this. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.